Hi, I'm Michael Young, and I'm a conductor.
Can you tell us a little bit about who you work with and what kind of competitions you've been involved in, that kind of thing, all that impressive stuff I know you've been up to,
All
right?
right. Since we were at uni together.
Yeah. Go for it. Go on, hit us with it.
Well, I won the audience prize and another prize at the lead conductors competition. I won a third prize in the Pedrotti conductors competition. I'm assistant conductor with the English Symphony Orchestra, and I'm artistic director of the Hereford Youth Orchestra and the Beethoven Orchestra for Humanity, and that's an orchestra that I've co-founded with my wife quite recently.
Fabulous. Right. So what I do with these interviews is I get people to tell us about what it's like for them when they're performing and sort of their headspace. So could you tell us about what it's like for you when a performance is going really well, and you feel like you're performing at your best? What's it like?
Well, I think when you were talking about doing these interviews, I have to say I have an experience of a concert where I really had both dire awful and extraordinary, and I
Hmm.
wondered if it would just be worth just talking through that
Yeah.
both. Um, so it's a few years ago now. It was with an orchestra called Charities Philharmonia, and wonderful group of young musicians. We did, I think, Wagner, Tristan und Isolde Prelude at Liebestod in the first half, as well as a Schoenberg piece, which I loved. And there may have been Prélude à l'après-midi, Debussy. Anyway, the first half, we had this Wagner, but this prelude is something I'd conducted before at college, and it was one of the best things I ever did. So I had high hopes for it. And in the concert, I think we started with this, or did we finish with it? I think we finished with the half with it. But either way, the first half of this concert, things just weren't working. And the more I wanted things to work, I would sort of search okay, how can I do this differently? How can I make it work? I'll try this. I'll do this with my hand. Or all the while, just getting more and more frustrated. Whatever I tried wasn't working. And I got to the end of that half doing the Wagner Prelude and Liebestod, this piece that I just, it's died and gone to heaven music. And I wasn't in tears, but I was one of those times when I just wanted a hole to fall through, to open up, and I just fall through it. And I went off into the break. It was at St. John Smith Square, so down the spiral staircase into the dressing room. And I honestly, I sort of curled up in the dressing room, and I was, woe is me. And honestly thinking, I can't conduct, I shouldn't be conducting. Or how, just that kind of utter despair. And not to be dramatic about it. And yet, of course, I had another half of music to conduct. We were going to do Beethoven's Sixth Symphony. And what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I don't know what to do. But I have to do something. All I knew how to do was to walk up those stairs at the end of the interval. That was pretty much about it. And whether or not this had anything to do with it, I don't know. But a little old lady, so I was about to walk into the concert hall, and the little old lady comes up the stairs. She's late to get to the hall. And she said to me, "Oh, are you a conductor?" I said, "Yes." Oh, I really loved that Wagner. It sent shivers down my spine. And the thought occurred to me, well, if one person enjoyed it like that, then then, you know, it was worth it. But what happened next was really the I'll never forget this. And then, so that put a smile in me, for sure. But then, I walked out, about to conduct Beethoven 6, and I was suddenly infused with this feeling, I know how to do this. And it really wasn't like, I know how to do this in a controlling way, because I'd been doing that in the first half. This was something else entirely. It really felt as though the sun suddenly sort of came in and was shining upon my being, or something like that. I can't really explain it in anything less than quite esoteric terms. As I walked onto the podium, up the, down the aisle, and I was like a walking smile. And then, of course, the music, Beethoven 6, which is very smiley music, apart from the storm, of course. The opening, it's just, you're in the countryside, breathing the air. It's very green. And literally, F major to me is a very green key. I don't think I have synesthesia, but anyway. In fact, I think lots of pastorals have been in F major, haven't they?
Yeah.
Anyway, so perhaps I just learned it. But anyway, I keep saying anyway. So I start to conduct Beethoven 6. And it just flowed through me. It flowed through me. I was just so there with the musicians, and the love I had for the music just seemed to be magnified. And, I realized how this sounds, but it was like we were all one. That's what it was like. And, it wasn't the only time this has ever happened, but it's like that the things I was doing as a conductor, the physical side of it I was doing things I'd never done before, and, I hadn't planned, and like the minute little transitions, that the moving from one thing to the next, in many ways, getting these things working. If you get these things working, everything else kind of falls into place. Well, and they're also, you can overdo it or you can underdo it and it doesn't happen. It all became easy, and it just happened. And we're talking like a hair sometimes. Well, for a long time afterwards, the video of this was my favorite video of anything that I'd done. And when I showed it to a few people, and a player I really, really respected, she really noticed the feeling of listening that was present. And I think for a long time afterwards, I tried to get back there to do that. That didn't work either.
Yeah, of course it didn't. So we're all prone to this, aren't we? But this is such a beautiful story. Yeah, this is fantastic.
I was glowing for a long time afterwards. I remember just that feeling. In fact, I'm feeling it now.
Mm. I can feel it now hearing you talk about it. It's fab. It's really great. It's really great. So isn't it, I mean, when I hear you saying that, what springs to mind is like, isn't it fascinating, how different two people's perceptions can be in the same concert, from the old ladies and yours and everybody else's experience. I mean, it's just I continue to be sort of mind blown by thinking that every single person in that concert hall is having their own experience of it. I know they're hearing the same piece of music, but they're kind of hearing their own version. It's just fabulous. It's just separate realities, isn't it? It's awesome.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, the interesting thing is, I knew with that second half that it really was great, and that was the feedback that I got. And that's when obviously I wasn't in my head, and that's how it happened. But in the first half, when I really was in my head, it's a good lesson of how the more in your head you are, the worse judge you are of how anything is going.
Yeah.
Much everything else, because you're not really out there with people.
Yeah, you concentrate. I mean, like you were saying about, what can I do? And we all do this, isn't it? We concentrate on what we're doing. We concentrate on ourselves rather than, like you said, concentrate
where I needed to.
Yeah.
Well, but also, it's not just. I mean, I've changed a hell of a lot since then. But I mean, we're talking a cycle of, this isn't going how I want it. This is reflecting badly on me. I want to be a great conductor, and
trying to meddle with it, and
I'm not, and I'm never, and all happening at the same time, and I've got to make the music, and dealing with all this sort of sea of opinions, and then all that gone in the second half. But I had the very strong sense that what happened in the second half really came from my ego being knocked so fully that I was left in the space of, I don't know what to do, and I gave up. I gave up, and I had an I, as in, ego, personality, whatever. That I just gave up, and then in its place, it came.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's such a beautiful story. It's fabulous. It's really good. While I've got you, I'm going to ask you one more question, because this is gold, Michael. So thank you. Something I've asked people, and I think this is again another fascinating sort of topic to talk about. When do you get your best ideas?
Honestly, I don't think there's a specific place. They just happen. I think the only consistent thing is if I'm not thinking hard about something. If I'm not thinking hard about something, then a great idea can come in. If I'm in a thicket, they tend not to.
Beautiful. I think we've got it. I think this is superb. It's such a great story. That Beethoven story is fabulous. It really is beautiful. So thank you for that. It's
my pleasure.
A pleasure. If people want to get in contact with you after seeing you talk so eloquently about peak performance, is there an email address or a website that they can get in contact with you, or what?
Yeah. I've got a website. www.michaelalexanderyoung.com. There's a lot of Michael Youngs around, so I use my middle name. Although less as a conductor seems a bit poncy to me. The website's the same, michaelalexanderyoung.com. I think my email address is on there. Well, there's a contact widget. It was mayoung. I don't even remember.
Don't worry, if it's on the website, it's cool. You can tell me afterwards, and I'll.
Or if you're on Facebook, just hit me up on Facebook.
Sweet.
I use my wife and I. We've double-barreled our names on Facebook. So I'm Michael Karcher Young on Facebook. Karcher with a K, not Kirche, not the pressure washers. That has a normal.
Release the pressure.
Yeah.
That's the key. Awesome. Right. Okay. Brilliant talking to you. Thank you, my man. That was fabulous. Cheers.
Pleasure.